Joining us now, Ann Coulter, of course, conservative political commentator and author of the huge bestseller on Obama, racism, the Democratic Party, and she joins us now. Ann Coulter, and of course, your role in all of this, in focusing on the racial demagoguery of the Obama administration, of the campaign apparatus, was significant. Nevertheless, we had 92% of African Americans turn out for Barack Obama in this election cycle. Unpack it for us.
Oh, that's good. I think it's down from 4 years ago. So there is a silver lining. I think your analysis is more hopeful than mine. I should probably stay away from radio and TV for the next week because I'm pretty pessimistic about the country. I think, despite what you said being true, I think Romney ran just on his own force of will a magnificent campaign. I think he was the perfect candidate.
Me? You think he ran a magnificent campaign?
Yeah.
On what basis are you saying that?
Yeah.
He got his clock cleaned. How did he run a magnificent campaign, Ann? I can't believe Ann Coulter, who is a truth teller on issues from the economy to social issues to racial demagoguery, is saying that Romney ran a magnificent campaign with Eric Fernstrom and Stu Stevens at the helm. How could you possibly conclude that?
No, I said he did. I didn't say the campaign was magnificent. It was better than Ronald Reagan's. Romney didn't, they had to start inventing gaps out of thin air. Romney is the first Republican candidate I've seen where I don't get nervous when he talks. He's a beautiful speaker. He's articulate. He has an articulate vice president, something Reagan certainly did not have. He was so good in the debates, as I knew he would be. He had a serious plan for fixing real problems. He concentrated on jobs. That was the important issue. He concentrated on the economy. We have 8%, more than 8% unemployment. People are suffering. The country is in disarray. If Mitt Romney cannot win in this economy, then the tipping point has been reached. We have more takers than makers, and it's over. There is no hope. You say you just changed the consultants. Well, that's a hopeful analysis.
First of all, I don't think the case for conservatism and the conservative solutions was ever really made by Mitt Romney, except in that first debate where I think for the first time we saw someone fighting, and he was hopeful, and he was specific, and he was calling Barack Obama out, and Barack Obama wilted in that first debate. And after that first debate, I don't know where that Mitt Romney went. I mean, in the summertime, he was raising a lot of money, and he was on Lake Winnipesaukee, and he was having fun on the jet ski, and he was enjoying his family, and he's a very nice man. I like Mitt Romney as a person. I think he's a great guy. But I can't imagine that you, having seen the Ronald Reagan apparatus and Ronald Reagan's booming and persuasive oratory, would say that Mitt Romney's speeches were in any way Reagan-esque or approaching them. I found them falling flat and hollow, and I'm sorry, and this is going to sound cruel, but some of the times I didn't feel like he was connecting with the material. And I think you have to connect with the material. I mean, maybe it's people who've actually been in the trenches for decades, not someone who just was a success in business. But I hope you're right.
Like I say, I think it's a lot more hopeful. I think Reagan had a different electorate.
That's for sure. That's for sure. You're right about that.
And
but
that's what makes me afraid. I think on the same electorate, there's no way Romney wouldn't have won last night. And I'm not trying to pick favorites, Reagan over Romney.
Right.
I just don't see. I mean, in so many ways, Romney was, in fact, surprisingly more conservative than Reagan, who was absolutely swearing to uphold Medicare and increase it and Social Security and
but he had a $3 billion budget deficit
with Jimmy Carter. You watch his debate swearing up and down that he was never going to touch Social Security.
I'm going to have to do an intervention with Ann. I'm doing an intervention.
Well, what I just said is true.
Well, no, but Ann, he had a $3 billion budget deficit to deal with. We have a $16 trillion budget deficit. That's apples and oranges.
That's not the question. No candidate would run on touching Social Security or Medicare. Romney could have saved it for us. Now it's bankrupt. Now it's over.
Right. But you're right. You're right. So Ann, the idea of fighting for the country just ends because we have a candidate who is a former one-term governor from Massachusetts who couldn't pull it together and lost by a couple of percentage points. I mean, so the entire conservative movement doesn't connect with ethnic Latinos and working class people anymore. I just reject that. I think the House races that we did win and that Senate seat in Nebraska count for something. And I believe the fact that we picked up a couple seats in the House of Representatives and the Senate was we only lost 2 seats in the Senate, tells you that this country is still divided. I think it's a vote for the status quo, probably a vote for gridlock, contrary to what we're hearing from the media. And it means that conservatives have to have an articulate, smart, movement-type person at the helm. And leaders convince and win people over. They reset the agenda. And I don't think Mitt Romney, and you can listen to his concession speech last night, even in the concession speech, he didn't sound like he was invested in conservatism. He basically said people should now just reach across the aisle and work together. Oh, okay. That's what it was all about? I don't think so. I think it was about economic freedom.
Speech. It was a good concession speech. It was short and sweet and dignified.
Oh, short. That was its only merit.
When you're conceding, that's really not when you're supposed to start making ideological points. You just lost. Just concede and move on.
I disagree.
I think that's a fair criticism.
Well, I think you can congratulate the president for running an incredibly powerful and successful campaign, and congratulate all the people who supported him. But I still believe that conservative principles endure, and that economic freedom and not only empowers people, but grows countries' economies, grows real hope in a country that desperately needs it. But I will, do my best to work with the country and work with political leaders to advance the cause of economic freedom. I think he could have said something like that and been very magnanimous. I think he said very little, and he did get off the stage. He looked obviously dejected. You can't blame him. And again, he's a very nice man. His wife is a delightful person. And I have to ask you about Chris Christie's role in all of this, because I know you're a big Christie booster, and you like him a lot. And look, I like a lot about Chris Christie. I like his plain talking and rough and tumble approach. I like that a lot. But I mean, Chris Christie was doing everything except spooning with Barack Obama in the last week or so.
Yeah, I think this has really hurt him. I mean, I was pretty confident.
What did you think about it? What did you think about Christie? I know it's hurt him. He's never going to be the Republican nominee.
Well, that's what I was starting to say. I didn't think we had hit the tipping point. I thought Romney was going to win, and if Romney had won, it wouldn't have made a difference. I understand why Christie did what he did. President Obama plays politics with money. He deprived New Jersey of federal education funds soon after Christie became governor, and New Jersey is hurting. He needs the education funds. By the way, Bloomberg did the same thing. He got federal emergency funds in exchange for a New York Times endorsement, or in the New York Times, by Michael Bloomberg of Obama, which the very last paragraph of which, he basically takes it back, but there's the deal. You endorse me, Michael Bloomberg, and I'll get your federal disaster relief to you. So, that's the president we have, and New Jersey's hurting. So I understand why Christie did it, and I would have thought he could survive. Now I think it was so close. That's really going to hurt him.
But do you think so? You stand by
Which
Chris
is tough
Christie's decision?
I mean, one thing we've learned some of us learned it a long time ago, and I hope Republican primary voters will notice, you can't run for president from the House of Representatives. Please stop wasting time and money during the primaries on these members of Congress. I mean, they have great potential. They can go and run for governor and then run for president, but we have to stop with that nonsense so we can really concentrate on a candidate who can win early. It pretty much has to be a governor. And I mean, I suppose one silver lining is, oh man, you're talking about Romney. We got to do something about these Senate candidates. Any Republican running for office, knock it off with the philosophy on rape and incest and abortion. Can you learn to say no exceptions, or rather, no abortion with exceptions for rape, incest, life of the mother. Learn that. Memorize that, Republicans. Stop waxing philosophical when you're running to make laws.
Yeah, and do you like? So you still let's pretend. On the issue of 2016, I know we're talking about this. It's
a little far out.
No, but that's okay. But because the last time conservatives fought and never agreed on one candidate, and we got the establishment candidate. Now you think Mitt Romney was the best person to run, and I say
no. I think he was the best president we could have right now. I mean, it isn't so much that Obama won re-election. The country has barely survived 4 years with him. I think Mitt Romney was the president we needed right now, and I think it is so sad that we are going to be deprived of his brain power, of his skills in turning companies around, turning the Olympics around, his idea and his kindness for being able to push very conservative ideas on a country that no longer is interested in conservative ideas, that it is interested in handouts.
No. I would submit, Ann, that is, and I love you, and I think you're awesome, but for you and Coulter to come on this show and say the country is no longer interested in conservative ideas, I think you're going through a demoralized period, and I get it. I'm demoralized too, but I think that is BS. I think the country is craving leadership. Barack Obama is filling that vacuum right now, and he does it with a great presentation, and he is a terrific campaigner, and he has a smile on his face, and he looks like he's having a good time, and that's very attractive to people. But in the end,
for the last month, he was really pretty dejected himself. I think he thought he was going to lose. And what did we hear for the last month? It was all about women's reproductive rights.
All right. Well, and Mitt Romney said nothing to define himself on that issue. Nothing. He said nothing. He let them beat him up.
I don't think that was what the issue should have been, and Romney did exactly the right thing by talking about jobs. But that's not what our gender wanted to hear.
Yeah,
they want their free birth control.
Well, we have a fundamental disagreement. I think the country has not heard or had a national figure make the coherent case for conservatism for, I'd say, 17, 15 years? And I think it's time for it. Ann Coulter, it's great to talk to you. Pep up. Chin up. Dust yourself off. Move forward, girl. All right, we'll take a break on the Laura Ingram Show. Byron,